All right, let's dive in. We're looking at Frankenstein today,
Oh, a classic.
and specifically Chapter 13. This is where things get,
Intense.
yeah, really intense emotionally. I mean, for the creature. If you remember, he's been kind of lurking around,
Right, observing the family.
yeah, watching them at the cottage.
It's springtime in the story, so there's this
Oh, yeah, the contrast.
beautiful imagery of, like, the world blossoming.
And the cottagers
They're
are,
happy.
they're happy, making music, enjoying nature.
Everything. The creature.
Yeah, everything you want.
Exactly.
And then this mysterious woman shows up.
Mysterious. Beautiful.
Safie on horseback. What an entrance.
Right. Talk about an entrance.
So this is Safie, and she's actually,
The daughter of a Turkish merchant.
yeah, and fleeing to be with
I love Felix.
Felix, who lives at the cottage.
One of the cottagers, yeah.
So it's not just a, random plot device.
No, no, no.
Safie is
She's a catalyst for the creature.
for his learning and development.
Emotional and intellectual, yeah.
For one thing, she doesn't.
She doesn't speak the language.
Right. So Felix has to teach her,
And the creature
hidden away.
is listening, soaking it all up.
Imagine learning a language as an adult.
It's hard,
It's so hard.
but
He's picking it up. He picks it up right alongside her.
incredibly fast.
He learns like 20 new words
In one day.
in a day. Just think about that.
It shows how intelligent he is.
Yeah.
How adaptable.
Not just mimicking,
No, he's understanding the structure of language.
which of course opens up a whole new world for him.
But also,
also-
a new level of pain.
That's right, because he's eavesdropping on their entire lives.
Joys, sorrows, hopes, fears.
And he already wants, connection.
He yearns for it.
But the more he learns,
The more isolated he feels.
right,
And it's not just language she's teaching him.
right. Safie is also
A sorts of beauty and art.
that scene with the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Shelley contrasts it with Agatha's song.
The simpler song, right.
Yet to show how complex Safi's music is.
And the creature.
He's totally captivated.
He's yearning for that beauty.
It's like he's experiencing everything vicariously
The whole range of human emotion.
through them.
And it just makes his own longing even stronger.
Yeah. A beautiful but really painful awakening.
Exactly.
And then Felix decides to teach Safi history.
Oh, this is key.
He uses this book called Volney's Ruins of Empires.
Not your typical history book.
Oh, absolutely not. It's dense.
Typical.
Rise and fall of civilizations.
The good and the bad.
And the creature is right there listening.
Getting a crash course in humanity.
He learns about the slothful Asiatics,
The virtuous Romans.
the discovery of America,
All of it.
the inspiring and the horrifying all at once.
It really makes him think.
So it's not just about vocabulary at this point.
No, it's way bigger.
He's dealing with these huge questions
History, society, good, evil.
and where he fits into it all.
Things are about to take a dark turn for him, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll see how all this knowledge and emotional awareness really starts to impact the creature.
The more he learns,
Yeah.
almost like the more he suffers.
Oh, like a kid suddenly forced to face reality.
Exactly. And remember,
This isn't his only source of knowledge.
yeah,
He's sneaking into the cottage,
stealing books.
reading all these classics,
Plutarch, Werther.
even Paradise Lost.
Oh, wow.
So each book
Gives him a different lens.
on the world,
Plutarch with the heroes and villains.
power, ambition,
Sorrows of Werther, all that unrequited love.
so much despair.
Resonates with his own feelings.
Yeah, that isolation.
And Paradise Lost.
Woof.
That one really throws him for a loop.
Good and evil, heaven and hell.
Talk about heavy stuff.
Right. And you can see how it just messes with his sense of self.
It's his fragile sense of self.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of his existence.
In this grand cosmic drama.
And it's not a pretty picture.
Definitely not. He's bombarded by all this beauty.
Love, heroism.
And yet,
He's excluded.
completely shut out.
He's an outsider.
Always reminded of what he doesn't have.
Family, love, acceptance.
And that's where
his anger.
it festers.
He sees how the cottagers react to him.
Yeah, they're repulsed by him.
They're scared.
And that moment,
Oh, with the reflection?
heartbreaking.
He sees himself.
And he's horrified.
His worst fears confirmed.
Not just the physical ugliness,
No, it's deeper than that.
it's that word monster.
He internalizes it.
He starts to believe that's all he is.
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it is tragic because you see glimmers of good in him,
The yearning, the empathy.
but it's all getting twisted,
warped by his experience.
pushing him down this dark path.
And that leads to his decision.
Oh, the big one.
He's going to confront Victor.
Here we go.
He wants answers.
Why was he created?
Why
I
abandon
abandon-
all this stuff?
He's not just seeking knowledge now.
No, it's more than that.
He wants justice.
Maybe even revenge.
This is it, the showdown. And we know it won't be pretty.
But before we get to that fallout,
Okay.
let's think about what Shelley's doing here.
Okay.
This isn't just a monster story.
Yeah.
It's a mirror to humanity.
Our prejudices.
Our cruelty.
What makes a monster?
That's the question.
Are we born that way?
Or are we made into monsters?
By how we're treated.
Powerful stuff.
Especially today.
In a world where difference is so often feared.
It's a lot to process.
And there's more to come.
Stay tuned for part 3.
Where we'll see what happens after that confrontation.
And explore the consequences. That confrontation. The creature and Victor face to face.
Can you imagine the tension?
All this build-up, all this learning and yearning, and now
He's demanding answers.
he wants Victor to see the pain.
With responsibility.
All of it.
It's like a Greek tragedy.
It really is.
Everything leading to this moment of reckoning.
And it's not just anger from the creature,
Yeah,
right?
there's heartbreak there too.
He sees how Victor is with his family,
That love, that acceptance.
and it just fuels his own longing.
He even tries to appeal to Victor's compassion.
He brings up family, the bonds between parent and child.
But Victor,
Terrified.
he only sees a monster.
A threat,
Consumed by fear and guilt.
but no empathy.
He can't see past the creature's appearance.
And that's what does it.
That rejection.
It seals the creature's fate,
It confirms everything he fears.
that he's nothing but a monster,
And that pushes him.
to the point of no return.
He realizes he'll never be accepted.
And his anger, the need for revenge.
It takes over.
But even then,
Even in his despair.
he doesn't just lash out.
No, there's a twisted kind of logic to it.
A demand for justice.
He wants Victor to create a companion for him.
Someone who understands.
Someone who won't reject him.
It's a desperate plea.
For connection. For an end to the loneliness.
But Victor sees it as another demand.
Another threat.
From a monster he wants gone.
And Shelley's playing with us here, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
We feel for the creature.
His pain, his longing.
But we also get Victor's fear.
That horror at what he's created.
The duality of it all.
Good and evil.
Not just in them, but in us too.
We're all capable of both.
And the choices we make, how we treat each other.
It shapes everything.
Our destinies, the destinies of others.
So as we wrap up this look at chapter 13,
Think about this.
what if Victor had reacted
A
differently?
little empathy, a little understanding.
Could it have changed things?
Prevented the tragedy.
That's what makes Shelley's work so powerful.
The questions it raises.
The possibilities.
It makes us look beyond the surface.
See the humanity in everyone.
Even the monstrous.
And remember that our choices, the way we treat each other,
They can create monsters.
or miracles.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Frankenstein.
Keep those questions in mind as you keep reading.
This story has so much to offer.
And so much to make us think about.
See you next time.